The key target, grand final day at the MCG. Thousands to be killed, blown up. And now we find out that the homegrown terrorist who plotted it all was on welfare payments for 19 years. He never worked a day and has cost us millions. Claire Brady looks at the jihad cell that was funded by you and me.
This is what they think of us, a law unto themselves outside Melbourne's courts. With charges laid, Australia was about to discover what Muslim cleric Abdul had in store for us.
Anyone who fights for the sake of Allah, when he dies, the first drop of blood that comes from him out, all his sin will be forgiven.
Ben Bricker and 6 of his followers had planned deadly blasts and bloodshed. Found guilty of plotting to wage a violent jihad on Australian soil.
There are 2 laws. There is an Australian law, there is an Islamic law.
And if that wasn't bad enough, it's now been revealed that you were paying for him to plot his vicious attacks, every day making his deadly plans with your taxpayer funds. He hadn't worked in 19 years. That's around 7,000 days. And with 7 children, his welfare payments netted him about $1 million of our money.
The agencies that send out, you know, the dole and dole payments and give baby bonuses to people, a lot of these people that come to this country, they're taking money off the Australian taxpayers, and yet at the same time they're plotting against us. I mean, it just seems crazy that the departments don't talk to each other. I mean, does immigration ever talk to ASIO? Does ASIO ever talk to immigration? Is there not a list of these people and that overstay their visas?
Radio broadcaster Steve Price let fly.
I think the Australian government needs to get more serious about terrorism. They end up living off the Australian taxpayers because that's what a lot of these people do.
Not only were we paying him and his family, but he shouldn't have been on our shores. Ben Bricker was an illegal immigrant ordered out of Australia 3 times, in 1990, 94 and 95. He was told to get out, go home to Algeria. But instead he fell off the immigration radar, married a Muslim Australian and won an appeal to call Australia home, and kept on plotting to destroy our way of life, comforted in the fact we were funding it all.
I'm not involved in anything here. I am teaching my brothers here the Quran and the Sunnah.
Secretly, his job was to kill thousands of us, even testing the strength of bombs in the Australian bush. Bill Kelly is now retired from Victoria Police. He was one of the Joint Chiefs in Operation Pendennis, the case that shut Ben Bricker down.
Putting together a task force with analysts and investigators, lawyers and other people, very resource intensive, and over a 2-year period roughly, from the beginning of the operation to the time the raids were done, becomes very, very expensive.
Almost 2 years of work, around the clock, millions of dollars absorbed in police time and millions more in the courts. Remember, 3 times immigration should have sent him packing. They never did.
Nothing came to light until such time as we knew about issues for Pendennis.
Professor Greg Barton of Monash University believes Ben Bricker may have been a late bloomer in terrorism.
It's when those conservative views cross a line, and very seldom does this happen, but when they cross a line and they align themselves with preemptive violence. And in Ben Bricker's case, that seemed to happen well after the whole immigration issue was over.
Bill Kelly's not that sure.
That's not to say that he's a person that didn't think about it all of the time. I mean, he's probably a person that, if he was of that persuasion, has chosen his opportunity and his timing. So it's difficult to say.
But for Steve Price, it's simple.
Ben Bricker, 3 times, they should have thrown him out of the country, and they never did it. And if we think and we sit back now and say, well, we've never had a terrorist attack in Australia, it's never going to happen, we're kidding ourselves.
Claire Brady with that investigation. By any standards, so